name is Paa Kwasi Schandorf, and this is your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Now, 4 persons have been arrested for attacking some policemen in the Western region. The police service has subsequently begun a probe into the allegations that its men may have attempted to extort money from a gang of illegal miners. Videos capturing the incidents went viral on social media, sparking calls for the arrest of the gang as well as the officers in question.
Oh, Charlie,
Now, following these developments, the police has issued a statement. My colleague, Kweku Asante, joins me via Zoom with the details of that particular statement. Kweku, what has the police been saying?
And that some magazine and rifle have been seized by these persons. This material belongs to the police officers. The police say that an intelligence operation was immediately launched after the report to get the suspects arrested. And that on the 28th March, after about 3 weeks of the intelligence operation, 4 men, Kojo Sia alias Mose, Emmanuel Mensah alias Kufia Samoa, Maxwell Kujo, and Ajabu Haruna Disau were arrested for their suspected involvement. A search was conducted at the residence of Kwame Asarieni, the prime suspect, who is still on the run, which led to the retrieval of 3 pump-action shotguns, also 1 pump-action shotgun, 2 machetes, 8 BB refill cartridges were also retrieved from the suspect's unregistered Honda CRV vehicle. Other items retrieved from the suspects include 2 live refilled BB cartridges and 1 unregistered motorbike. On the 1st of April, while the investigations were still ongoing to get the remaining suspects arrested, the police's attention was drawn to a video footage in which the said police personnel, members of the Axim patrol team, are shown pleading with members of the gang, while the gang is alleging extortion by the police officers. The police say that this allegation made by the gang of extortion has now been lodged with the Police Professional Standards Bureau for investigation, and that all the suspects that I've mentioned above who were arrested have all been put before court and remanded in police custody.
All right, thank you very much for bringing us up to speed with the details of the statement from the Ghana Police Service. Now, away from that, Cabinet has granted the request by the Minister of Health to upgrade the Bono Regional Hospital in Sunyani into a teaching hospital. That's according to the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafo Ibwa. He made the revelation at the university's 10th anniversary Grand Deba at Sunyani.
The University of Energy and Natural Resources, UNE, inaugurated in 2012, started on a modest beginning with 154 students, but currently has over 13,000 pursuing studies in 56 diploma, undergraduate and postgraduate academic programs under 8 schools at the Sunyani and Doma campuses. The 10th anniversary was themed A Decade of Academic Excellence in Energy and Natural Resources Education, commemorating the past, celebrating the present, and shaping the future for national development. At the climax of the celebrations, Vice-Chancellor Professor Elvis Asaribediakon said the university has many achievements within the period and is still working with a vision to become a world-class institution. He, however, said they need support to prepare the youth for the future.
The challenges that we face as a society demands that we continue to produce graduates who are equipped with knowledge, skills, and character to make a positive impact on the world. We hope to increase our programs of study and double our student intake within the next 5 years. Opportunity to receive tertiary education in the areas of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. This we can achieve if we become fully operational by acquiring the necessary infrastructure in terms of lecture halls, administrative office space, practical laboratories, and student hostel accommodation. We also seek to get government support to complete the construction of our Insuatry campus within the period so that it can house the School of Engineering, Energy, and Sciences.
Bono Regional Minister Justina Osubanahini stressed government's commitment to promoting sustainability through education and preparing the next generation of leaders to tackle environmental challenges with the many educational initiatives, including STEM education. The Minister for Employment and Labour Relations and MP for Sunyani West, Ignatius Bafo, revealed that Cabinet has approved a request to upgrade the regional hospital into a teaching hospital with plans to establish a medical school at UNE.
About 2 weeks ago, the Minister for Health presented a memo to Cabinet, and the subject matter was to seek the permission of Cabinet so that the Sunyani Regional Hospital is upgraded into a teaching hospital. This request was not only accepted by Cabinet, but Cabinet also added a provision that the Minister of Health should work with the Minister of Education so that a medical school is established at UNE. I would therefore urge the Council and the Vice Chancellor to expedite action, work with the Minister of Education to let this dream come into fruition. I would love that perhaps if by the end of this year a public announcement is made on the establishment of the medical school, that will also be very nice.
Precious Semevo, JoyNews, Sunyani.
Now, still outside of the capital, water scarcity in the northern region continues to be a huge challenge for most communities. From December to April, most water sources dry up, leaving residents to travel several kilometers in search of water. In some cases, they are unable to find water for their domestic chores. Data, according to UNICEF, reveals that only 4% of households treat water suitably before drinking, with the remaining 93% and over of households not being able to do same. With this data, it's even more daunting for communities that cannot find water. There's more in the following report.
What is your description of clean potable water? I guess most people would say colorless, treated, safe water. But for residents of Kuli and 3 others in the Kumbungu district of the northern region, this description will be seen as wrong. Over the years, they have come to accept clean water as brown contaminated with floating materials.
It's that time of the year where most water sources are dried up, and this is their major source of water. Brown as the water may be, to these people it is gold.
Rural women are the most affected when it comes to water scarcity because fetching of water is seen as their responsibility. Even though it's a tiring activity, it's a must-do activity each day. Bawa Amatu and her colleagues say they walk about 4 hours each day to and from the water source.
When you fetch the water, you will have to boil it or sieve it. Even the boiling does not help because it is not healthy. But that's the only source of water we have. So whether we like it or not, that is what we have. The dump is also far. From the house to the dump, you can spend 4 hours. That is if you can walk fast.
Zelia Fuseni, sharing the source of water with dogs and other strange animals, continues to be a worry. We are pleading for support to have some form of clean water. We continue to use this water with dogs, cows, and many other animals. Did you not see the dog a while ago just run into the water to drink? There is mud everywhere, and children bath in the damp with their dirty clothes. Yet, that is what we use for cooking. Even though they have a borehole in the community, one can spend the entire day before you can get about 4 liters of water. Asana expresses her concern.
All the boreholes they dug are not flowing except one. You can spend your entire day without water unless in the middle of the night before you can get water. Imagine you have a baby and abandon the baby in search of water. If it's communities they steal babies, someone can steal your baby without you knowing because you are away for several hours.
This is what they call the safest water they can have in this community.
Even though these communities are a few kilometers away from the Dallon treatment plant where pipe water is treated and distributed to most parts of the northern region, they continue to drink contaminated water. It is their hope that someday they would get help to enable them have clean source of water. For Joy News, Martina Bugri reporting.
Now, he's only 10 years and walks on one leg. However, he wants to be a superstar in a game that requires the use of both legs. Abdullah dreams of playing for top-flight league sides such as Liverpool. Well, that is actually against the tide of events in his community where many who are physically challenged are used to begging for arms. Freelance journalist Justice Bedu tells us the story of Abdullah.
Tamale's future football stars on their runs, preparing for a big game. This is the Blackpool Football Club. These boys, many of them under 10 years, represent the city's next generation of footballers. Amongst them, one-legged Abdullah, aided on his runs by his crutches.
When I play in a number 3 position. My friend Swatik plays number 10. Brahim plays the number 2. Sometimes we interchange the positions and I can play 11.
On a dusty red earth pitch, few meters away from Tamale's biggest sports stadium, 10-year-old Abdul Razak Abdullah kicks a ball around, aiming for the goal. He's different from all the boys out here on the field playing. Abdullah was born with a rare condition that meant his right leg had to be amputated before his first birthday.
When you come to Tamale, you find so many physically challenged people begging for money. I want to be different. I don't want to beg. I want other kids to see me and to be different.
Abdullah, open, Abdullah.
From the crowd watching, he's cheered on by Abdul Razak Salifu, his 47-year-old father.
It was just, we're just having the belief in God, that it was God's will, so we can't do anything. The only thing we should do is to help him. And he liked football so much, for football there. We watch football together. Actually, in the house, we also like football. And he is the only Liverpool supporter in our house. We support Manchester United and Chelsea are there in the house, but he's the only Liverpool supporter in the house.
I love Liverpool because of their style of football. That's why I want to
Tamale, the biggest town in northern Ghana, has very few spaces for physically challenged children like Abdullah to build on their talents. He's hoping playing in the game here would help him catch the attention that could be the springboard into a Paralympic team on the world stage. Justice Beidou for JoyNews in Tamale.
Interesting developments there. Well, Frank Jamila is also only 10 years, but his childhood adventures of climbing trees, running around, and playing football have all been shattered in his eyes. A year and a half ago, Frank and his brother were on their way to the northern regional town of Bimbilla when a motorbike ran into them, crashing his lifelong dreams of becoming an engineer. Freelance journalist Justice Beidou traveled to meet him in a small village. Here is the report.
For all of Jamila Frank's life, he's wanted to be an engineer. For a boy living in a small remote town in northern Ghana, his talent and the sort of things he's able to build shocks many. In the yard of his home, he displays some of the things he has made: a prototype helicopter, a bulldozer, a saloon car, and many more made from sticks, threads, and used electronic waste materials.
Grader on Transayana. He's saying that this is the grader that we use to construct road, and this is the strength.
He had hopes that his talent could propel him into a well-paying job in the future, so he too could help lift his family out of poverty. A year ago, all that dream was shattered in his face. He was on a bicycle with his brother en route to sell on a market day at Bimbilla, the nearest major town, when a motorcycle hit and ran over him.
It was like a dream. I went into a coma. When I regained consciousness, my leg was gone. It had been crushed by the motorbike. I was in extreme pain.
When Frank's bicycle got crushed and he needed urgent help, it took his family more than 5 hours to make the journey from this village to see the nearest specialists in the Tamale Teaching Hospital, the only teaching hospital in northern Ghana. By the time they had made that journey, Frank says he was already unconscious and in unbearable pain.
It's been nearly 2 years and Frank has not been to school. Nasongno, his home village, has no junior high school facility, and so children walk up to 5 miles to the next village that has one to continue high school education. Because of the pain he feels when walking with no aids, he has been left behind.
I am always hiding in my room. I don't want to come out because when I do and I see my friends walking and going to school, I cry. I cry a lot. I am pained that I can't go to school like everyone else.
After a year of back and forth traveling to Tamale and many expensive procedures, Frank's farmer father has run out of money and asks that his son stays home.
The bill is a lot and we paid. So when we paid and they asked us to come home, we saw that the leg was still like that. But they said when we come to the house, we should be bringing him to the hospital. So we do send him to hospital, and now the money got finished, and he has a case too. He cannot also use his leg to walk. So in our mind, the way the guy always think and he's always sad in anything that his activities he's doing, then we are thinking that if you can get money and send him back to hospital or TTH to see if they will still treat the leg and he can use to work, or what, maybe whatever the doctor will prescribe, then we'll take it like that.
Frank's family is hoping against all odds that divine help reaches his son, and hopefully very, very soon. Justice Baidu from Nasongno for JoyNews.
Palm Sunday is the Sunday before Easter, and it's the day which marks Jesus' triumphant entry into Jerusalem. Well, today actually happens to be Palm Sunday, and this is what some Christians have been saying.
Today being the second day of April, we join the Christian confraternity all over the world to celebrate Palm Sunday. It is a great occasion for us as Christians when we remember when our blessed Lord and Savior Jesus Christ journeyed to Jerusalem to die on the cross of Calvary for our sins. For us Christians, it is indeed important because God the Father himself has sent his Son to come into this world, to die for us, to liberate us, and to give us a new life. And that is why this Palm Sunday makes so much meaning to us. Just as we join the people of Israel when they waved their palm branches to sing Hosanna, simply meaning that save us, Lord.
We do Palm Sunday for remembrance, especially the Passion of Jesus. It leads to the Passion of Jesus. My message to all Christians is that every Christian shouldn't be a coward. We should always speak the truth, but the truth will lead us to heaven.
All I know about is the triumphant entry to Jerusalem, how Jesus Christ was accepted by the people, and just a few days later, he was crucified. The importance to this to Christians is that we should cherish the people we have around us, because we may not know when they may leave. That applies to Jesus Christ being ushered into Jerusalem as a king, and the other day he was crucified as a prisoner.
Let's take a break at this point. The bulletin continues shortly. Thanks for staying in. Now, the production of the traditional wooden stool as a seja is a booming business in the western region of Ghana. A pioneer in the trade, Nana Ahaji Osman, says that the stool, which was mainly a representation of royalty, is now used by many for several ceremonies, including weddings. But he fears for the sustainability of the production of the stool, as the youth in the region are reluctant to learn the trade. Beverly Broom visited him in Biposo and filed this report.
The whole Western region, my brother and I are the only traditional stool specialists in the whole of Western region. People even come here to purchase the stools in bulk to go and sell.
This is Nana Alaji Osman, a traditional stool specialist for 3 decades. The aseseja is a traditional Ghanaian stool with a symbolic meaning. It is a carved wooden stool common in sub-Saharan West Africa, often considered a representation of royalty, as it is mainly used by chiefs and queens. Its reverence, however, has dipped, as people without royal lineage but are highly respected in society purchases them for personal use. They are considered to have both spiritual and traditional relevance.
The sese wood was previously used in making the stew, but because the sese wood is no longer available, we use wawa and nyamidua wood. Sese is a very hard wood, but unable to withstand harsh weather conditions.
Alhaji Osman and his brother are the only source of this special stool in the Western region, Beposo.
During my apprenticeship days, we were told the tree is a god and we must perform some rituals to pacify it before cutting it down. But now, I believe God created the tree. If you buy the stool and decide to use it for spiritual purposes, that's your prerogative.
The Aseseja comes in different sizes, shapes and designs, each of which communicates a message. We
have sankofa. We also have bakuntina and other kinds. The stool can be used by all persons.
He has been explaining to me the duration it takes to design a stool.
There were 3 parts. There were base in the baby and nan.
This tool, for example, has got 3 parts. We have the base, the middle, where the design is fixed, and then sits itself.
There were base, middle, and then the top. In between the top and the base, on the design of a barber shop, them a EMRE or funny and support.
After carving the stool, we use sandpaper and apply lacquer to give it a good finishing.
And then the different paint down here. If you also open there, the issue, if you have a simple design, on why 2 days,
the design will determine the number of days we can finish a stool. A simple design can take 2 days, but complicated ones can take approximately 2 weeks. Prices are also changed based on the type and size of the design you want. The ones here are 1,000 Ghana cedis each. It can be bargained to 800 to 700 cedis.
For someone to be in the business for 30 years, it goes without saying that the returns corresponds with the work delivered.
This business is really going on well as compared to previous years. A lot of people like pastors and newlyweds are buying this year.
If the stool carving business is as lucrative as Alhaji says, why are people within the community reluctant to learn the skill?
The youths here have refused to learn carving because they don't consider it to be a good job. Initially, my brother was hesitant to learn the trade, but he came to the market with me one day and saw how I was making money, and he decided to join me.
Learning the skill keeps tradition alive. As the old adage says, it lives on. But how can this be if the youth is reluctant in learning the stool carving business? Beverly Broom, Joy Business.
Now, governance analyst Professor Bafo Jimandua is calling for a change in how members of parliament are elected to break the current duopoly being enjoyed by the ruling New Patriotic Party and the opposition National Democratic Congress in Parliament. Speaking on the 4th edition of the Joy Change Speakers series, he further indicated that a change in the country's electoral system would help better the lot of governance in the country.
First of all, I think we should advance inclusive politics by introducing proportional representation, a system where parties gain seats in Parliament in proportion to the number of votes that they obtain in elections. And this I think will bring more parties into parliament. It will mitigate the unbridled partnership and the winner takes all syndrome. We should also redefine power distribution between the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary to enhance accountability between governance and structures at the local level. And I think local governance should be enhanced with political and fiscal decentralization so that the assemblies can become the key agencies for community development. We should also think seriously and see a more dynamic role for chiefs at the local level in the districts. Chiefs can be made district assembly presiders so that they can be part and parcel. After all, they own the lands in these areas.
Now, convener of the Fix the Country movement, Oliver Baka-Vomawo, however, believes that a comprehensive amendment of the Constitution will serve the country better rather than a piecemeal amendment.
We cannot view this call for a new constitution as some pet project where we assemble a few lawyers and friends of the Article 71 class to go and write somewhere. No, the stakes are too high. True constitution making goes beyond that. This is our opportunity to recapture the beauty, vibrancy, and disruption of all of Ghana, from Boku to Mampong, from those who sit aloof to those who would much rather occupy Ghana, from the heartbroken yet earnest souls who sing "Fix the Country" to the bellefools who scream "Fix yourselves" back at us. We must speak to everyone. We must engage ourselves as one people with a shared journey, despite our different devotions to the vision of freedom. We must give our people a reason to dream again. We must renew for them a vision of a Ghana that is possible, a Ghana that is daring. Give us back the Ghana that our fathers and mothers yearned for. Give us back the pride of belief in the possibility that Ghana is the greatest country in the whole world. Let us rediscover together our shared humanity, our shared values, and willingness to yearn for freedom. Together, through a constitution of our own making.
Still on this development, private legal practitioner Ace Anand Ankuman believes that protecting the Constitution from violation is better than rewriting another document which also may be abused.
Can the President order the Chief Justice to go on if the Chief Justice hasn't gone on? If the President cannot, then the President cannot order the EC boss or the Auditor General to go on leave. It's as simple as that. Now, if we will not fight to protect the still ring-fenced institutions from executive control, we are asking for more power to be taken, so we will allow them to be influenced as well. We must sit down and have introspection. How have we been faithful to this document that we once changed? If we have not been able to protect it, whatever we do, we will not protect it. It will just be another nice written piece of paper, and we will expect the ink to rise up in the alphabet and themselves.
Still on calls for the modifications, I beg your pardon, to be made in the Constitution to reflect the needs of current times. Former MP for Tamale Central, Nusaf Husseini, believes that there is also the need for the processes leading to the appointment of the Electoral Commissioner and her deputies to be made more consultative.
By amending Article 43 of the Constitution to read the Electoral Commission shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Public Services Commission with the prior approval of Parliament by a 2/3 majority. So what do you have here? You have properly located the Electoral Commission, which is a public office by creation, within the Public Services Commission. And it's not new, it's not novel. When Kenya was confronted with the situation of an Electoral Commission they could trust, they gave that responsibility to the Public Services Commission, who caused publications to be made, adverts to be made, inviting applications for the post
Again, on this subject matter, former PPP presidential candidate Bridges Jokwenuku believes that MMDCs should be elected.
A couple of years ago, there was a supposed attempt to do this. However, it would seem that there was no real political will, else the necessary amendments would have happened without the national drama we witnessed, which led to the suspension of the well-publicized referendum. It was suspended apparently because there was no consensus according to an official statement. But how else could we have ensured whether there was consensus without allowing the people to vote on that question? Whose consensus was sought? In our view, the question of whether MMDCs should be elected on partisan basis, which triggered the referendum, was not necessary at all. We can elect our chief executives tomorrow if Parliament decides that it is necessary, it is making the necessary amendments without going for a referendum today. All that we need to do now is for Parliament to amend the articles
A total of 386 people in the Upper West region have benefited from a free medical health care by the APREDEC Medical Outreach Team. The medical team comprised of specialists who were drawn from different parts of the country. Upper West regional correspondent Rafik Salam has more in the following report. However, viewers are being warned that some images in this report may be disturbing.
The APREDEC Medical Outreach Team, since 2011, has been offering free medical and surgical care to several thousands of people in local communities in the Upper West region. Their outreach services, however, went into hiatus following the advent of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. This year's event was therefore the first by the APREDEC Medical Outreach Team since the outbreak of the pandemic. The medical team of specialists comprising of general surgeons, obstetrician gynecologists, pediatrists, urologists, optometrists, and plastic surgeons drawn from different parts of the country attended to backlog of cases of residents who, because of poverty and other private reasons, could not have afforded that basic healthcare service. At the Upper West Regional Hospital, 3 medical teams comprising of a general surgeon, urologists, and plastic surgeons took charge of 3 of 6 operating theaters. At the time our cameras got there, the general surgeon was doing a hernia repair, while the plastic surgeons also got busy with a case of a known epileptic who fell into fire while cooking.
This is the plastic surgery team. I'm Dr. Militano, consultant plastic surgeon, and also Dr. Koja there, also is part of the team, plastic surgery in Confanoche. When we came, we saw this girl who had been in the ward for almost 2 weeks, a known epileptic. Attended, she was cooking and then she had a crisis and she fell into the fire. And as you can see, she sustained burn involving both breast, the abdomen, and both upper limb. So this morning we are trying to, as much as we can, to resurface the skin through a split thickness skin grafting. So as at now, that's what we are doing. The process is ongoing. We have not finished yet.
Dr. Emil Tano also spoke on some of the cases they earlier dealt with.
We did a lot of cases. We started on Monday, and then today is our last day. They cut across swellings, they call them lungs and bumps. We did other reconstructive. So yesterday there was a young man who suffered a road traffic accident. We have an exposed fracture of the tibia and fibula. So yesterday we have to do a flap to cover the wound and also graft the other side where we took the flap. So he's in the ward. This morning we have seen him, he's doing well. And this morning we also have 2 kits. We have done one already. And then the second one has eaten, so we have to wait for anesthesia safety. So after this case, I think I will be able to do that one also.
For urologist Dr. Ibn Yenli, he just completed transuteral insertion of the prostate for a man believed to be in his 60s.
He has not been able to urinate for some time. There has been a catheter, and that is affecting his quality of life. So we've just completed the procedure. We have operated him. There is no scar on him, on his skin. There is no cut on the skin. There is no scar. And in the next 2-3 days, he's back home. Everybody will be happy.
Ever since this paperless hospital came into being, there are some equipment that we are told has not been in use. But with the coming of the upper deck team, they were put into use, and I'm told that they have passed that test really here. And so this is one of the equipment that was used for some of the surgeries right here.
The assignment we have been given is to evaluate or test run the endoscopic tower, the laparoscopic tower. This tower comprises of a camera, a monitor, a light source, and a carbon dioxide insufflator, electrosurgical unit, and all of that is working. They have the accessories that go with it. The only problem, I would say, is maintenance cost. These equipment are expensive, and the daily running of them are on the high side. So the hospital can run this activity for our patients or for the patients of the region. The only thing is they have to sit down and discuss this carefully with stakeholders, especially National Health Insurance. They will not be able to sustain their activities just with National Health Insurance fees. They are expensive to maintain.
Renowned pediatric surgeon at the surgery department of the UD School of Medicine and Health Sciences, Professor Francis Abatanga, who led the team at an exit meeting, disclosed that a total of 386 surgeries were conducted during the 6-day period.
So we were in Wichao Hospital, we were in Wa Regional Hospital, we were in Nadolo Hospital, we were in Nandong Hospital, we were in Tumu Hospital, and we were in Issa Polyclinic. In all these places with these surgeries, a total of 386 surgeries were done. Various surgeries were done, and we made at least 386 people in Upper West region very happy. They smiled from house to the hospital and from the hospital back home.
Professor Abatanga spoke of some challenges encountered.
The theaters need improvement upon. Some theaters have only one table. It will be good if you can have a specially built theater or improve upon the theaters we have. The services in the hospitals are good, very good, but you only need to improve upon some of them.
Medical Director of the Upper West Region Hospital, Dr. Robert Emesia, was grateful to the Upper Deck Medical Outreach team for coming to the aid of the people.
Thank you so much for the skills transfer, for the impact you have put into people. It's not very easy to move from wherever you are to another place for care. We know that these services are within Ghana, but when you are going to move, some of those procedures, post-operatively, you need a number of days to recover, and you have to go with your relatives. So if the service is brought to your doorstep, I don't know how much expression of appreciation you can do.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Now, scores of revelers have been arrested by the police following a swoop by the police at a pub near Paa Kwasi Lodge. Now, friends and loved ones of the arrested persons have been waiting fruitlessly to have their loved ones released since 1 a.m. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba is currently at the Police Detective Training Academy at Tesano to bring us up to speed with the latest. Maxwell, you've been at the scene for a while now. What can you report?
Well, Schandorf, some of the revelers, we've seen them still in their partying clothes. Here at the Police Detective Training Academy. In fact, some of the people who I'm told who were arrested were passers-by who were not actually at the pub, but were also arrested in that swoop. the police, the authorities here would not allow us to speak to any of the family members or relatives who are waiting outside the police detective academy, waiting for the release of their loved ones and relatives who have been arrested. So we would have to, we were compelled by the situation to stand outside here, outside the police training school here to file this report. We have been hearing from some of the family members who tell us that they have been waiting since 1 a.m. They've not had any explanation from the police officers, policemen who arrested these revelers and passers by. They tell us that all attempts to get information from them have proven futile, and they are waiting impatiently for them to explain why they arrested them. Two men I spoke to told us that they were at the pub when the police in their vehicles together with a bus just came to the pub where they were having fun and then ordered them to get on the bus. They have been making some claims that we cannot independently, verify. They said some of the people who were arrested were slapped. We cannot independently, verify those claims. But the two gentlemen who I spoke to told me that they ran into a nearby bush, and that is the only reason why they are walking freely. And they say that they returned here to this place when they got information that their friends, their colleagues have been brought here to the Police Detective Training Academy here at Tesano. One of the policemen in charge of the operation who I spoke to told me that they cannot give me any explanation why the arrest was conducted, and that they are interrogating the persons they have arrested, and then when they are done, they'll put out the information. But for now, they tell us that we should contact the police public affairs unit for any information on the swoop that was conducted this dawn. But as it stands now, scores of family members are still gathered in front of the Police Detective Training Academy here at Tesano, waiting for their relatives to be released. Many of them tell me that they are hungry of information, they want to know why their loved ones have been arrested, but they are not getting any of that, Schandorf.
All right, Emmanuel Nunu is the owner of the pub. Has he been speaking to you? Has he said anything as of now?
Well, he was here earlier. But had to leave. When I spoke to him, he also tried explaining that they were at the pub, and then the police officers, the policemen came and then arrested the people. He has also been here, but we are told that he also does not have any information regarding the arrest and why the people were arrested. So it seems like nobody's in the loop as to why the persons who have been arrested were arrested by the police, and we are patiently waiting for police to give us that information. They have promised that when they are done interrogating the persons, they will put out that information. But as it stands now, none of us, nobody at the Police Detective Training School has any information on what's happening.
So that was my colleague Maxwell Agboba reporting from the Police Detective Training Academy at Tesano. Let's now do some sports, where Ghanaian boxer Isaac Dogbe has issued an apology following his defeat to Robinson Ramirez for the WBO featherweight title. Dogbe went into the fight with the hope of becoming a two-division world champion, but was beaten by the Cuban boxer at the end of the fight. The 28-year-old, had no real chance of taking full control over Ramirez, who had the upper hand over the Guinean from the very first round. Dogbe after the fight pointed out his shortcomings. He said, "I'd like to apologize to my coaches and to the people out there who wished me well. We didn't get the results we wanted, but we'll definitely be back." That's all for now. Up next is The Law with Samson Ladi Anyanyani. For more news, log on to www.myjoyonline.com. My name is Paa Kwasi Schandorf. Do have a pleasant afternoon. Bye-bye.